Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that button. Let's drive into this journey together, okay? Let's get into it. Okay, so for years, I have felt like I was stuck in a battle with myself. Like there was this war happening in my mind that I just couldn't win. Every day I felt like the weight of the world was crashing down on me. Just a weight on my shoulders that I just couldn't handle. So, anxiety? Yeah, that was a constant companion, creeping in and stealing every ounce of peace that I had left. And depression? Forget about it. Well, it was not far behind, okay? And it left me feeling lost, disconnected, and drained, and like I was fading away from everything and everyone. I say a lot, don't I? So I wasn't just the weight of my thoughts, it was the emptiness that took over everything that I did. I couldn't find joy in anything anymore. I was dragging myself up every morning, waking up every day, going through the motions, just trying to survive until I could crash at night. And then something shifted, okay? I made a decision, and I made a big one. I decided to leave everything. I decided to leave it all behind, no plan, no clear path forward, just me, my backpack, some boots. Well, actually, they were shoes. They were Brooks, if we're going to be specific. So, I now have a Speedcross, which I love. So, just my backpack, my shoes, hoping that nature might give me the space and time that I needed to heal. So, let me tell you about my first hike. Okay. So, I wanted to tell you about my first hiking experience. This was back in October 2021 on the Appalachian Trail. I stepped onto the Appalachian Trail in Georgia, not knowing exactly what I was looking for, but trusting that God and the universe was going to guide me somehow and somewhere where I needed to be. The first step, that was just the beginning of the journey that would change everything, okay? So the first miles, man, they were brutal, okay? I had never hiked in my life, you know. I'm from Vero Beach, Florida. I grew up surfing and diving, you know, never hiking in the mountains. My body was so sore, my mind, a total mess. The rain hit, unrelenting, the kind of rain that soaked you to the bone and didn't let up for days. And we all know that when you get wet out there on the trail, it is so hard to dry out. The mud, oh my God, the mud, slippery, thick, caking onto my shoes, making every step felt like a fight. I lost gear, snapped tent poles, soaked clothes, and the bits of equipment that I did lose, I thought I couldn't live without. I lost money as well. It just seemed to disappear when weather turned against me. So every fall felt like a reminder of how heavy and how everything I was carrying had become. But with every step, something inside me started to change. And I didn't really know what was going on. The motions that I was going through, what I was feeling. But I began to feel this subtle shift, like an energy was finally beginning to move again. I didn't have the language, like I don't really right now, for it at first, but I was feeling something. So every climb, every mile that I went, every step that I took, it was really a challenge. It was like I was shedding layers of pain, of negativity, of old energy that had been stuck in my body for years. I wasn't just walking Appalachian Trail. I was walking my way out of darkness into a new kind of light. I mean, feeling this new inspired energy that I had never felt before. And then something caught my eye. Now, remember, this is October, okay? In Georgia, on the Appalachian Trail, the leaves, okay? The leaves, they were just this most vibrant, beautiful thing that I had ever seen in my life. I'm talking about those deep reds, the oranges, the yellows, so bright they almost looked unreal. It was like nature was painting a world in the most incredible colors. And I was like so lucky enough to witness it. I felt, and I was the only one on trail, so it just made me feel so special and just so it's so cool to relive this as I'm telling this story. So those leaves in their like brilliance, they felt like they were speaking to me, telling me that everything that I'd been through had led me to this moment. It was like the earth was offering me this healing energy right there in front of me. And I felt alive. In a way that I hadn't felt in years. The connection with nature. As I journeyed, I felt a deeper connection to the earth, to the trees, to the sky. I actually took my shoes off a couple of times and just carried my shoes and just walked in the dirt. You know, that way I felt connected and grounded to Mother Earth. It was like nature itself was aligning the chakras, resetting my energy. The more I walked, the more I felt the energy, and my body began to flow like blocks that had been stopping it for so long were slowly lifting, like bricks had been put up and now I'm suddenly taking them off, you know. I felt grounded. I felt the grounding power of the earth beneath my feet, like the root chakra awakening as I connected to the natural world. Every step I felt more balance, more peace. And if you'd watched my video before this, explain why I hike, you know, peace was such a big thing. In my heart chakra, that one started opening up too. My chest felt lighter. I felt open to love, to forgiveness, both for others and especially for myself. There were moments, some mosquitoes were getting me. There were moments when the world just stopped, and I stood still and I could close my eyes and I felt this deep energy just coursing and moving through me and moving through the air around me. It was like I was tapping into something bigger than myself, something divine. God's presence was undeniable, and it felt like every step that I took was bringing me closer to that higher power. Now, whether you believe in God, you know, or you just are more spiritual, you know, or whatever your religion may be, like, it doesn't matter. The fact that this higher purpose gives you that beautiful energy and peace. So along the way, I met so many cool people. I mean, and that's what pushed me to continue on this journey further and further. I remember this woman who ran a small cafe in town that was like frozen in her time. Her warmth was like, it was she just had this great energy about her. We spent hours talking about life, about our struggles, our triumphs, things that kept us going. And she shared how she had lost her job, her home, her stability, everything that she'd once known. But there she was, still smiling, still running her cafe with grace, with kindness, and doing it with just a soft heart, you know. And she just had the most beautiful soul. Her story was like the reminder. It reminded me that healing doesn't come from avoiding tough moments. It comes from moving them step by step, and sometimes the people that we meet along the way, they show us this strength, and this love and this resilience. A little further down the road, I had met an older man too, who owned a bookstore, tucked quiet, away on the street, and there was something about him that just screamed peace. We didn't talk much at first, but when we did, he said something that stuck with me. What was it? The most important stories aren't the ones you read in books, they are the ones you live. That conversation, that was a turning point for me. It reminded me that life's beauty doesn't always lie in the big epic moments. It's in the quiet, everyday ones. It's the people you meet, the conversations you have, the way you keep moving forward, and even when it feels impossible, you keep moving forward step by step. A lot of talking. Get my thought process back. So as the mile stretched, as I continued on, something inside me began to shift even more. The weight of anxiety and depression didn't disappear overnight, but with every step, I started to feel more whole. I started to feel less angry and less, resentful of things and worried. Like I said, I felt my chakras aligning. I felt the flow of energy returning to my body. My crown chakra, once blocked, began to open. I felt connected to something beyond just myself. It was like the universe was reminding me I wasn't alone, that God had been with me the entire time. So when the world slowed down during COVID, so did mine. And out there, the noise, the distractions, the rush of everyday life, they all just faded into the background. And out there on trail, I could hear God's whispers, I could feel His guidance, like a gentle hand on my shoulder. Okay, reminding me that I was exactly where I needed to. Anyway, so back to the story. So when I finished the Appalachian Trail, I didn't feel alone. I felt like I was just getting started. So when I left the trail, I headed back down to Florida and quit everything, my career, and left my house, and I started walking the Florida Trail. But life had more surprises in store, because one afternoon I met a family living in a campground on the Suwannee River in North Florida, and they had lost everything. Because of COVID, they were living in a campground. They had like 4 kids and 3 dogs, and one of the dogs was Bailey. This beautiful and adorable dog that you all love so much, that has been hiking with me through 19 states and over 11,000 miles. They had this beautiful black and blue tick hound named Bailey, and they could not care for her anymore. And they asked me if I would take her with me. And it was kind of a random question to ask some stranger, but they could see that I was hiking. So of course, I gladly accepted, and it just felt right. So I felt like God was sending me this companion, this little fur baby to keep me company and help me through my emotions. So I took Bailey in. Decision changed my life forever. Okay, she has been just my best friend. And Bailey just wasn't a dog. She became my partner on the trail, my steady presence that I needed. She helped me reconnect my heart chakra, teaching me like unconditional love and reminding me that I wasn't alone. I mean, dude, with her by my side, I felt like I had someone to share the journey with. And I don't know if a lot of you feel that who hike long distances, but dude, it gets lonely out there by yourself. And when I first started out, it was super lonely, and then she came along, and best thing that ever happened to me. So we walked the Florida Trail and then back onto the Appalachian Trail, hit trail days all the way to Maryland, to Harper's Ferry, and then we got a little bored in the mountains, so we jumped on the American Discovery Trail and we headed there, and we ended up in Oklahoma before the year ended. So in the years since, we've covered 19 states in over 11,400 miles. And every day felt like a new chapter. Every hill climbed, every river crossed, it was like building something new inside myself. Not just physically, but spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, which I am very adamant about promoting, because this has truly helped me out. So the more I walked, the more I realized that healing wasn't just happening on the outside, it was happening within me too. And one of the most profound moments came after a tough climb. Dude, and I remember this.
All right,
like
guys.
It was yesterday.
So,
dude.
it doesn't look like it, but
so exhausted. My body was so sore.
it is
My
a
mind fried, and like
quite
I
a
was
little
carrying like
hike
44
up here.
pounds because like I was so new to this. I didn't have the proper equipment. So, but when I looked up at the view, when I had finally reached my peak, I just had this gorgeous view, and it just was so captivating. It just took my breath away. Like the sky was golden, and the world was like stretched out before me, peaceful and expansive. And in that moment, I felt the presence of God again, and the universe is all around me. And I realized something powerful. Like I made it. I had finally made it to the top. Not just to the top, like of the mountain, but to the top of a place of peace to the top of a place of peace with inside myself. There we go. So that first hike on the Appalachian Trail in October 2021, it was a game changer, dude. It was a game changer for me. It was a healing time. And that takes time. It's okay to struggle. You know, and it's okay to find joy in the journey while you're struggling. The people that I met, the lessons that I learned, the energy that I found through the earth, through the chakras, through God, it was all part of the process. And since that moment, I can say something that I never thought I'd be able to say. I've never felt that weight of depression since I started this journey. I'm not saying every day is perfect, but I still have hard moments. But now I've got these tools to face them, and this journey wasn't about running away from my past. It was about running towards them. It was so nice to be able to tell this story. I really hope that this has hit hard with some people who have experienced those really hard days hiking. So tune in. I'm gonna start going over more and more of my hiking experiences, you know, that way it can relate to how it's helped me in my life, and thank you guys, appreciate it, love you guys.